1980, on a quiet stretch of Venice Beach, 7 youthful architects gathered for what would become an iconic photograph. At the time, they were bold innovators, shaping a new architectural language rooted in Los Angeles, but destined for global impact. This single image captured the energy of a moment, a group of creators poised to redefine their craft. 45 years later, 4 members of that group reunite to reflect on their groundbreaking careers, the city they helped transform, and the enduring legacy of their work. Thom Mayne is a Pritzker Prize award-winning architect and co-founder of Morphosis, known for bold, unconventional buildings in cities across the globe. Eric Owen Moss is best known for transforming a stretch of Culver City into a neighborhood of wild, one-of-a-kind structures. Craig Hodges is a designer who blends architecture with pop culture and technology, co-founding the influential firm Hodgetts & Fung. Frederick Fisher has created many beloved spaces for museums, schools, and artists that feel welcoming and serene. Through candid conversations and a restaging of that legendary photograph, this film charts the evolution of their ideas, their friendships, and the architectural soul of Los Angeles itself.
This photo, as I understand it, is the end point of a series of shows. And the shows were your idea, Thom, is that right?
You know, funny, people ask, this will be a complicated answer. I'd taken a year off, and I show up back in town in September, and I'm told that I'm running the lecture series. SCI-Arc, and just like this, I say, okay, and I pick obvious characters in this group, and every week we did it, and I met John.
John Dreyfuss.
John Dreyfuss shows up, and he gave a very nice, but it was front page culture, left-hand column.
Because John Dreyfuss is at the LA
with
Times.
Today it'd be impossible. There's no culture section, right? No and it just kind of took off.
I mean, that kind of thing is the milieu within which Thom's shows, all of these things were happening. They were under the radar. But John Dreyfuss, he's the guy that's shown the light on it. Otherwise, nobody would ever know it happened. They just...
Because of the fact that he did this, the second one after he wrote it, Steve Martin shows up.
Steve Martin, the comedian?
Oh, and he's an architectural buff. And I was just in this little studio with one person helping me. And the next time I had this huge crowd show up because he had mentioned somehow in the article that, oh, Steve Martin was there. And it was hilarious, but it's why you needed the right.
I think the thing about Dreyfuss was that he was like, I don't mean this in a bad way, a groupie. He was besotted with the idea that stuff was happening, that there was a real energy. And he was the kind of person who had endless curiosity.
I mean, he stood for something and against something. I can remember this, you know, we did a little remodel in the Palisades, the 708 house. At the time, whoever was the advocate for those 2 towers downtown, I don't remember who the architect was, complained to Otis Chandler, because I remember Dreyfuss telling me, Moss does a chimney. It's a chimney. That's pretty much all it was. It does a chimney, and they give very substantial coverage, like pages of 7. They're really strange. And we built 2 towers, and we don't get mentioned. And Dreyfuss was proud of that in a way, as being an educator and a learner and an advocate and a kind of conceptual pioneer. And I think without that voice and again, the substance of that voice in a milieu where there wasn't a voice like that, and he was in a position to be listened to. And I think the success of the show and the group and the lectures was very much a consequence of that. There is a context, I think, in America and maybe Europe not so much East Asia at that point, that what validates content comes out of Midtown Manhattan. And if it doesn't come out of there, somehow it's less than whatever. And it is what New York says it is in art, in music, and architecture. And it seems to me there was a reluctance on the part of the New York group and then the Philadelphia group. So the sort of Venturi piece and the Peter piece and all of that, to acknowledge what was any more than, in their terms, a kind of local manifestation that'll come and go and belongs to Venice. I actually don't think it ever belonged to Venice. I'm not sure it even belonged to LA, although that was the venue. But I think what made it, what validated it was a more international kind of acknowledgement. And Toshio Nakamura was one of those guys for sure. And Herbert coming out here and watching and writing and watching more and writing more and following this for many, many years, I think was the other piece. So it was Dreyfuss, and then I think it was Herbert too.
It's interesting, I mean, this photograph, how it triggered that, because agreed, we were immediately adopted by characters, and definitely Toshio Nakamura. And Herbert adopted us, but there's another thing here that you're not from LA, right? Where are you from?
Cleveland.
Yeah, none of us are from here.
I came here in part because I saw in a magazine this architect jumping up and down on a piece of cardboard furniture. And I saw, you know, Progressive Architecture Awards with Craig and Bob and Coy and Thom and probably you too. And I had to make a choice about, do I, you know, leave Cincinnati, Ohio, come across the country to a city I knew nothing about. And when I saw this energy that was going on here, and this was early 70s, I could see that there was something going on here, something percolating. And I was surprised at how the journalists from Japan, Italy, France, England,
Yes, I know. I'm
interlocutor
complicit.
included,
I'm complicit in this story.
were showing up here, and it was like, I was a kid doing my first house, and there was a journalist from, you know, Italy coming to see me. I was like, what is this about?